Welcome to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling. You are about to discover impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you, so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Be sure you visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now tune in, get ready, and enjoy the journey of emerging as a leader of exception in the 21st century.
Welcome, everyone, to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast. I'm your host, Vicki Noethling, coming to you from Roswell, Georgia. The goal of this podcast is to bring topics and guests that will empower you to become that confident leader and take your business or your life to the next level. Today, I am happy to have as my guest, Robert Indries. And let me tell you about Robert. So Robert Indries was born into a modest family in a very small town in Transylvania, Romania. He spent the first part of his life on farms, caring for livestock and working the land. I'm sure he was working hard too. When he was young, his family told him, if you want to learn, you can learn in any school. I think that's the preschool version of you can achieve anything you want to achieve, no matter where you are right now. And that's exactly what Robert continues to do and believe. Traveling gave him an ideal vantage point to observe common mistakes and successes in businesses on a world scale. This mindset has helped him to build an empire of 8 businesses generating 7 figures regularly, to travel over 100,000 miles, visiting 17 countries, speaking in front of thousands of people in 3 different languages, and to maintain a loving relationship with his gift from God, Diana, and his close family and friends. So throughout the years, he's also generated over 500 million in business value for his clients, delivered over 200 projects for clients in 19 different sectors, consulted over 1,000 businesses, professionals to achieve 2 times 10xing their levels of effectiveness and creating athlete level health and amazing marriage in between. Our theme today is going to be how to double your business in 12 months. Please join me in welcoming my guest, Robert Indries. Wow, Robert. Awesome job.
Thank you.
So you don't really have any spare time, I guess.
Yeah. But no, I mean, we use all the time we can consciously, I mean,
That's
why
awesome.
waste it? If you can use it, let's use it.
And that's really good advice. Delegate the things that don't generate. Okay. I always ask a simple question. I know where you were born, but where do you live now? Where do you call home?
So I was traveling for around 15 years now. And I've been in many countries. In the first part of my travels, I lived a lot in and around the US. Spent a lot of time in Mexico as well, because we were living the, how people call it, the laptop lifestyle. So I loved working from Acapulco, loved working from Cancun. It was just great. You could just whip out your laptop. You just need an internet connection, and you can make as much money as you want in the most beautiful places on the planet. Really enjoyed that. Then around 6 years ago, I moved to the UK, where my wife had employment at the time. She was working in the NHS, the National Health System, in the UK. So she couldn't move. I could live anywhere. So at the end of the day, I just moved to her. And we spent around 6 years there. And then at one point, we said that it makes no sense for us to live in the UK. We had multiple reasons why living in another place would be more beneficial for us. And one of the main ones was taxes. So in my income bracket, it's very similar to many states in the US where you have 45% income tax. So I want to give myself $1 million a year. I have to give half of that to the great British government. You know, it's like, you're not using this money effectively. I'd rather not, you know, and I know they're not using it effectively because I have insights from, you know, people in government telling me, you know, how they're frivolously spending taxpayers' money. So I didn't want to be part of the scheme. If they would run their country effectively, I would have no problem with that, but they're not. And so I said, no, I don't want to partake in that. And so the NHS, you know, collects billions and billions of dollars every single year, yet they're billions in debt, more debt every year. You know, it's like, how can you manage yourself so poorly? It's crazy. And we know from Diana why. It's I don't want to go into the details, but so many people that are clocking in 8 hours sending 3 emails. I kid you not, real stories. And you cannot fire them because, you know, they have so many rights that you can almost never fire them. Because if you say, hey, you're not working, like, what do you mean? I sent 3 emails yesterday. Like, yes, well, I should have paid you $2 to send those 3 emails.
That's exactly right.
You know, not $100 or however much I'm paying. So that's the reality of the UK right now. Hopefully they will change it. I don't want to speak to the future, but right now that is the reality. And so we said we'd rather go, because with $500,000 I can build my own clinic and get healthcare whenever I want to get healthcare. Right? It's like I don't need to give it to someone else that then squanders it, you know, on ineffective employees and management principles and so on. So basically, we left around, I mean, we started investing in other countries. We did some due diligence to see, you know, we wanted to find tax havens in Europe because we didn't want to go to a random island in the middle of nowhere. We wanted to still be in Europe. Yeah. And also, like, if anything happens, you're lost. I mean, no one's gonna fly out, you know, just to save your little butt. You know, it's like, okay, if you're in a more, you know, let's say in a safer place, you know, like we're in the middle of a continent here. Nothing happens here. There are no earthquakes, no floods, no hurricanes, no nothing. Like nothing happened. Nothing ever happened here, right?
And you have enough money, you can get to a beach no
exactly.
matter what.
Yes, exactly. We have mountains, beaches, we have seaside, we have everything, you know, just hours away, you know, 1-2 hours away, and it's fine.
Nice.
So we still live in Europe, and I don't know if we will move from here, because some of our colleagues asked, or friends, you know, okay, is this where you're gonna live, you know, from now on, as in like forever? Like, I don't know how you guys think, but there is no such thing.
No,
I mean,
I was gonna say,
if the next 5 years here are great, and then in year 6 we want to move, we're gonna move, right? If we want to spend 20 years in the city, we're gonna spend 20 years here, right? Or whatever, right? There is no time frame for it. Right now, this is the best option for us based on all of the data that we've analyzed, and so that's where we are.
So where is that though?
It's in a little city called Oradea. It's 3 hours away from Budapest. It's right on the border between Romania and Oradea, and Hungary. Between Romania and Hungary, there's a city. It's called Oradea, and it's the greenest city. It has won the greenest city, I think, like 3 years in a row. In all of the area of Europe. All of this area of Europe is the most progressive city in the entire country. It attracts the most investment from the entire country per point of populace. It's beautiful. You can literally go from one end to the other of the city just in parks. You can just walk it in parks, right?
Nice.
They're amazing. They're just building so much here, right? It's very cool. And again, if it will turn into, you know, a Manhattan, right, then we're just gonna move, because we don't want to live in
that's
Manhattan.
Right. I was gonna say,
you know?
as long as the building doesn't take away all those parks. That's
yes, exactly.
Yeah, that was one of the things I liked about Savannah, was that they built that city with the mindset of the parks were so important.
So we have very clear rules. Whenever someone builds, if I remember correctly, at least 20% of whatever you build has to be a park. And that's how they maintain it. Legally. You are not allowed legally to build anything. Like if you want to build a big building, you need to build so much park around it based on how much building you build, right? And so you need to build a huge park around it, and it has to have parking spaces, and it has to have, you know, amenities and everything. So it's cool the way they did it.
That's great. Yeah, I wish all city planners thought that way.
Yes, well,
but sadly
we're
not.
lucky to be here now, and then hopefully they will shine light, you know, and other cities will take example.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. All right, so let's get down to this. How can we double our business in 12 months? So I have a lot of questions that are how can. So if you are looking to improve your business, what should you do in terms of your marketing operations?
So how to double your business in 12 months is, yes, about marketing as well, but it tackles every side of the business. You cannot just have a one-sided approach to it. You need to have a very holistic approach. You need to tackle marketing, you need to tackle sales, you need to tackle delight, customer delight, you need to tackle operations, delivery, right? Recruitment. If you imagine your business is double your size, you need to recruit A players, because if you don't recruit A players, they're going to drop the ball and you're going to lose the revenue and so on and so forth, right? So I typically present this topic in live seminars that take 3 hours. So I'm going to try to condense it into 30 minutes. I'm just going to say the gist.
We'll just have to have you back 3 more times.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. We'll do, you know, what those guys do in the when they make series, like they have a great episode, and at the end they leave you with something hanging.
That's exactly right.
They show up next.
Definitely do that.
Yeah. But no, so I'll try to give everyone a brief rundown of how they need to think, because if they get how they need to think, they can start implementing. And obviously, if you get requests from listeners saying, hey, I want more detail on this or whatever, I can hop in another call, right? Of course, or anyone that has any questions, they can just email me. I'm sure my email will be in the show notes, right? If they Google my name, I'll be in the first 3 pages of Google, so they can easily find me, no problem.
Perfect.
Okay. So to get into it, I would like to start off with the most important part, I think, of this entire concept. And that is the concept that 80% of your results will come from your mindset of that, right? Your psychology, and not the mechanics, right? I can teach you the mechanics as well, but let's first agree. Let's just take 2 minutes to agree on the mindset that you need to have in order to make this happen. And I'm just going to give one very brief, let's say, metaphor on how this works. And that is the comparison between victims and victors. So you will not be able to double your business in 12 months if you have a victim mentality, or you might luck out, right? And then if you luck out, you'll lose the money eventually. But let's say if you do this correctly as a victor, then you will keep the money and you can take it from there, use the momentum to then triple, quadruple, and so on and so forth. We've had years when our portfolio would grow 481% was our best year, which is almost a 5x. So any $1 that I would put into the business in a year, I would make 5x, $5 next year on that same dollar spent. So investing into my own businesses was literally the best way in which I would invest my capital, and it literally grew to tens of millions since. So we're in a place where I really want to nail down the difference between victims and victors. You know victims in your life, you know who they are. You know victors in your life. You tend to gravitate towards them, appreciate them, respect them, and so on. However, we have our own blind side. Like you don't see, you know, my blind spot doesn't see my issues. So let me tell you something, or a few things actually. A victim points fingers, right? Is the economy, is the government, it's, you know, the pandemic, it's my colleagues, it's my clients, it's whatever. I points fingers, right? A victor takes responsibility. My clients are, you know, bad people. I need to get good clients, better clients, right? My employees are not productive. I either need to teach them how to be productive or get other employees, right? my government isn't helping me, I'll change operations to another country, right? Or I'll find a different way to operate so that my government does not impede my workflow, etc., etc., etc. Right? You will not find solutions. You will not go to the next level as a victim, which actually takes me to my next point on this metaphor. A victim finds excuses, whereas a victor finds solution, right? If you're finding excuses at any point in time, if you say, why didn't we hit our 3-month goals? And if a list of excuses comes, you're a victim. I'm sorry to be the bearer of harsh news. You're a victim if you find excuses for why you're not achieving your goals. A victim finds excuses, a victor finds solutions. A victim lacks resources. They say, I don't have the money, I don't have the time, I don't have the people. A victor is resourceful, right? They make the resources happen. With whatever they have, they make more. That's the point of entrepreneurship. You make something from where there is not, right? That is the entire point of entrepreneurship, right? And so on and so forth. I can tell you a victim is always busy, a victor moves the needle, right? Like, so as you were talking a little bit earlier, right? We don't spend our time frivolously, just like we don't spend our money frivolously, right? If we have 2 hours right now with my wife, we always ask, okay, are we going to chill? Like do nothing, like consciously do nothing, like just enjoy our time? Or are we going to go for a walk? Are we going to work out? Are we going to plan something? Are we going to use this extra time to work? What are we going to do? Consciously, let's decide, right? It might be sleeping because we're tired, right? It might consciously be, okay, let's take a 2-hour nap right now because that's what we need right now, okay? And so on and so forth. But we've moved the needle on whatever area of the life we actually wanted to move the needle on, whether it was our relationship, just chilling, discussing, spending time together, discussing what happened last week, what happened today, what's going to happen tomorrow, right? We move the needle on our health, we move the needle on our business, whatever, right? Always busy. If you're always busy, you're probably a victim, because a victor is never busy. A victor is always consciously working towards their goal. They're not busy. They're just working towards their goal. That's it. Okay? And so on and so forth. So those are some, again, I can't go into all of the mindset, but this is the gist of it. This is the most important part of it. If you at any point in this time catch yourself being a victim, ask yourself, how can I transfer my thought process and my actions to a victor's actions and thought process, right? And then do that switch. Every time you catch yourself, it's like practice, and keep doing that. If it's difficult, guess what? This is what hard feels like. Write it down for yourself. This is what hard feels like, and look at it every single day. Because if you thought entrepreneurship and becoming a multi-millionaire, deca-millionaire is easy, think again. It's hard. If you don't want to do hard things, just get a job and then, call it a day. Be happy not doing hard things, right? If you want to make deca-millions, get used to doing hard things, because it's not going to happen any other way. Okay, in most cases, again, I don't want to generalize, but most people aren't born rich. And so statistically speaking, if you want to become rich, you'll have to do things that are outside of your comfort zone, which means you'll have to do hard things for you, whatever hard is for you. So that's it. That's the mindset. So now let's go into thinking about business. Many people have the false belief that their business is unique. Because they have this false belief, they end up not implementing strategies that are proven to work in business. They don't implement it, or they half-heartedly implement it, and then it doesn't work the first time they implement it. Woohoo! Like it's and like the first time you do anything works. Exactly. And then they quit, giving themselves the excuse that my business is different, right? For my business, it doesn't work. This is a part, like now we're transitioning from mindset, wholly personal mindset, to business, right? And we start doing that by having a business shift in mindset. So if you look at the 1956 Beetle, Volkswagen Beetle, and you look at the 1955, 1956 Porsche, the very beautiful, iconic Porsche, right? And the very beautiful, iconic Beetle. The Beetle was selling for like $2,000, right? Which back then was a lot of money, right? And then the Porsche was selling for $8,000. right? So one was 4 times more expensive than the other, which is, if you look at today's money, it's pretty much the same. You can get a Volkswagen for like $30,000, right? A brand new Volkswagen. And you can get a brand new Porsche for like 120 grand, right? So it's basically the same proportion. But let me tell you something about that. The chassis of these cars was identical.
Yeah.
The underlying chassis of these two, just Google the pictures of the 1956 Beetle and look at the wheels, and then Google the 1955 Porsche and look at the wheels. You'll see even the wheels are almost the same. So the chassis underlying is the same. Let me tell you something else. Last year, we were in DTM, which is, Deutsche Turbo Motorsport or whatever it comes from. We were at Red Bull Racing. We were in Team Lamborghini. We're part of the team there. And it was a very, very cool event. We really enjoyed it. At the same time, something I want to tell people is, maybe they don't know, but a very large part of Lamborghini are Audi components.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say what percentage because I don't want to, but very large part, over 50%, over half of every Lamborghini is actually an Audi. If you buy an Audi, you're getting almost the same equipment as you're getting a 4x price Lamborghini. Okay, just so you know, just so we're clear on that, right? So just like that, every business foundation is exactly the same. The structure of the business is always exactly the same. And I will tell you the structure of the business. Listen very closely, take notes. If you don't have a pen and paper or a notepad open it now, because this is what you need to write down. So number one, these are the KPIs that every single business has. I do not care what you do. I don't care if you're recycling. I don't care if you sell shoes. I don't care if you're in the business of engineering. I don't care what your business is about. Or even if you are in nonprofit, this is the same structure. Number one, first KPI is number of contacts. Who are you reaching out to? How many of them? Are you reaching out to 100 people a month, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000? How many contacts are you reaching out to? That's number one, contacts. Number two, the second one is conversion rate. This is a percentage, right? How many of those contacts that you reach through ads, through SEO, through outreach, through whatever it is you're reaching, convert to pay you any amount of money, right? There's number of contacts, conversion rate. Number three is number of clients. How many clients you have, right? New clients, old clients, recurring clients, so. Number four is transaction value. Does the average client pay you $20, $2,000, $20,000, $100,000? No. Okay. If you're saying in your mind, let's say you do services. If you're saying in your mind, like, Robert, that's not wrong. Some clients pay us $500, other clients pay us $50,000. This doesn't work for us. Victim. That's the only thing I can tell you. Victim. If you don't have the basic mathematical principle to take your number of clients and divide that by, take the number of money you made and divide that by the number of clients so you get an average, I'm sorry, you probably shouldn't be in business, right? If that's the level of math you cannot hit, I'm sorry, you should not be in business. That's the honest truth, right? How much money did you make last year? $1 million. How many clients did you have? 1,000 clients. That's $1,000 average client value. Easy. A lesson in math for free from me, right? This is not being arrogant. This is me waking anyone up on the call that believes that they are different from the rule. It's the same rule. Average transaction value. Number of clients times average transaction value, okay? Then after that comes the fifth KPI, which is the number of transactions, right? So how many times people buy from you. If you're in shoes, if you sell shoes, you'll have a transaction maybe every month, every other month. If you're in real estate, for one client, you have a transaction every 10 years, maybe. They buy a house, they love it, they stay in it for 10 years. In 10 years, they're going to buy again from you, right? And so on and so forth. So it depends on every industry. Then the next KPI is revenue, right? After you have contacts, conversion rate, clients, value of each transaction, number of transactions, you have revenue, right? So how much revenue do you make? All of these are per time frame, by the way. Everything we measure you cannot measure things if you don't have a time frame. Am I measuring it for the last week, last month, last quarter, last year, last 10 years, or all time? But basically everything should have a time frame. After that is profit margin. This is a percentage, right? So how much money did you make last year? You made $1 million. How much money did you keep after all costs, after all salaries, after everything? If you kept 100 grand, that means you had a 10% margin, right? 10% margin, that's okay, whatever it is, depending on your industry. I have some businesses that have a 20% margin, other businesses that have a 50% margin, right? It depends on the business. And then the final thing that you care about as a business owner is net profit. This is a number amount. This is a dollar amount, right? Or a pound or euro or whatever, wherever your business is, right? But this is a value amount. So your business functions in the same structure like everyone else's business. You are not different. You have the exact same structure, the exact same chassis of a business. These are the only KPIs that matter. The only ones. Any other KPI helps these ones, right? I kid you not. Any other KPI you want to measure just helps these. These are the ones you should tackle, you should focus on every single month, every week if you want to, right? But every month to make sure these grow, okay? Let's look at just one example so that it's clear for everyone, right? On the right of all of these KPIs, you can say number of contacts, 1,000. Let's say in a month, you reach out to 1,000 people. Let's say your conversion rate is 10%. That means from those 1,000, you have 100 clients, okay? Let's say your average transaction value is $1,000. Let's say the average time someone buys from you in a month, right? It's twice, right? Okay, just to have some numbers so you see the math, how it works. That means the revenue you made last month is $200,000, okay? If this is closer to your yearly revenue, then just say, okay, this is the yearly numbers that I have, right? And so on. So whatever you can resonate with. If you have, and then if your profit margin is 10%, your take home cash that you actually keep at the end of the day for your work as the entrepreneur is 20 grand, right? So that's it. That's very simple. That's the chassis of everything. Okay. Now, one of the most important things after you know the structure. So the structure is after the mindset, the structure is the second most important thing you're ever going to get out of this call. The third most important thing you're going to get is to notice that 3 of these KPIs you cannot directly impact. You just cannot directly impact those 3 KPIs. And again, typically when I'm on the stage and I'm talking to 1,000 entrepreneurs listening, I make them figure it out. Obviously today I don't have time. You'll have to use your brain power and creativity some other time. But for this specific podcast, I'm going to tell you that when someone comes to me, like I have 8 businesses, one of them is a marketing company, right? So some people come to my marketing agency and tell me, I want more clients. I say, I can't get you more clients, I'm sorry.
Right.
Like, what do you mean? Isn't that what you do? No. What I do is I can help you reach more people. I can help you increase your conversion rate. And if I do these 2 things, then by default, you'll get more clients. I cannot get you more clients. And they say, isn't that the same thing? No. If you believe it's the same thing, you don't understand maths, right? You cannot go now, get me a client directly without talking to anyone and without having a conversion rate. You'll see you cannot get clients directly. If you focus on getting clients, your focus is in fiction because you cannot measure fiction. You can only measure reality. And reality is how many people did I reach out to and what's my conversion rate? Because if I reach out to 10,000 people and my conversion rate is 0.000 nothing percent, obviously I have a problem with either the conversion rate, so I need to increase my conversion rate somehow, or my target audience, right? That's it. That's the reality. But if I measure what matters, then I can impact the result, which is the result is clients. So if I reach out to 10,000 people, not even one of them becomes a client, I have a very significant problem. So conversion rate is what? Message. And then the people not reaching out to the correct people, that's target audience, right? You're not reaching out to the right target audience. So if you're doing that means your target audience you set up on the ad network, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Google, whatever, is not the right one.
Right.
If you're running email, that means that whomever you're emailing isn't the right decision maker, or it's not the right time, or whatever, right? And if it's SEO, the content you're writing isn't attracting buyer intent. You're writing content that is attracting people that are just doing research or are students and are looking to write a PhD or master's degree essay or whatever, right? Which is a lot of them, by the way. It's so much traffic. It's just from students just doing research on stuff. From that, if you measure these correctly, you will see conversion rate, obviously. What email are you sending them? What's the copy, like the creative, like the ad? What's the landing page look like? And so on and so forth. So focus on KPIs that matter, and then you will see number of clients will naturally grow. Okay, and we do this for people because people either don't have the time to do it or they don't know how to do it, or both, right? In either of those cases, either of those three cases, we help them do that, right? And by the way, we as in one of my businesses, but that's something that we do. But you can find so many good SEO people, so many good outreach people, right? From our outreach company, by the way, we're industry leaders in everything that has to do with B2B outreach. We've coached personally over 300 of our direct competitors because we don't believe in competition. We believe that we can all do better. And if I coach you to be better, you'll take the baton from where I left it and you'll do something even better. And then I can learn from you and then I can do better. At the end, our clients will benefit most from everyone evolving.
Right? And that goes to the delight that you talked about earlier.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So now let's talk about another two KPIs that you can, or something else that people come to us about. They say, I'm at 1 million right now. I want you to get me to 3 million, right? I want 3 million in revenue. I tell people I can't get you revenue. I'm sorry. Same conversation. I can't get you revenue. Revenue is an aftermath. It's something you get. Like, let's say we got to the number of clients already we discussed. Okay, after number of clients, remember there are two more KPIs that you need to measure. Number one is average transaction value. So whether you're making $1,000 a transaction or $1,200 on your transaction matters. It matters because you might say it's just another $200, but that's 20% of your business. If every other number stays the same and you just increase one of these by 20%, your entire business can almost double, right? Because it's literally 20% increase here, and then boom, you have such a huge growth in the business, right? So if I ask anyone, do you want to make 20% more money this year? Hell yes. I say, that's the $200 I'm talking about, right? That's it, right? So for every single transaction, look at your transactions and say, how can I make more per transaction? Whether that's selling more, whether that's whatever, right? But how do I do more? Don't just think of increasing my prices. Many gurus just say, hey, you should increase your prices. You're charging too little. BS, excuse my French. That's such BS. I've never heard stupider things in my life because many people are horrible at what they do. Many people should build your website because the website is so crappy. You shouldn't even have made it to begin with, right? And so if that person starts charging $1,000 to make the same crappy website, you're just $1,000 down the drain for a crappy website, right? Might as well pay $100 for someone, you still get the same crappy website, right? So we sometimes make websites for $25,000 and people are shocked. I'm like, Robert, why would I pay you $25,000? It's because you're not paying me for a website, excuse me, you're paying me to make an extra $2 million this year. And if you're not willing to spend 200 grand to make 2 million, I'm sorry, we're not a good fit. Because you don't want to spend, in order to have that. Right. And they understand. Guess what? Smart people do the math. And they say, oh, okay, I spent 200 grand, I make 2 million. And they say, well, what's the guarantee? Go back to childhood. Go back to when you were 2 and you had guaranteed tits. You had guaranteed your mom would feed you every single day, no problem. You had guaranteed.
That was the last time.
That was the last time you had anything guaranteed. After that, nothing was guaranteed after that.
That is true.
Right? So when you had motherly love, when you were 1 year old, you had guarantee of love. You had it, it was there. You were born into love. You couldn't have survived otherwise. Now, for some reason, you're 30 something or 40 or 50 or 60, and you still believe there should be guarantees in the world. I'm sorry, your mom was great. My mom was great. All of our mothers were great, but the real world does not have guarantees. So
yeah, the only other guarantee you have is the last one.
Oh yes, the last, and taxes. You have someone told us, there are only two guarantees in life, taxes and
death and tax.
Exactly. So that's it. But basically, so that's the main point here. There's no guarantee, but I disagree with raising your prices just because one guru told you should raise your prices. You can try it. See, you'll make more money. Perfect. Become better, please. Please don't just raise your prices. Do something extra, right? Do an extra technical review after the website is done, right? Or give an extra call 1 month later, make sure everything's okay. Whatever. Do something extra, right? Instead of $100, charge $200, double your price, but then do something extra for it, right? Like increase the value you bring for the money that you charge. And I'm 100% 2 thumbs up for you increasing your prices. Okay. Then after that is number of transactions. How often do people buy from you, right? In every single industry, you have a number of transactions. If you believe you're in an industry where there isn't a number of transactions, you're just being a victim. You don't know your industry well enough. There are people in your industry that sell more than once to one person or one company, right? And so basically, you just need to figure out how to do that, right? This is not, most people understand that you can have multiple transactions per person, so that should be fine. But and you can also get multiple transactions from referral programs, right? Like not you, but a friend of a friend or whatever, you can get that as well. But basically, how do I increase the number of transactions, right? So per person. So if we look at number of clients times average transaction value times number of transactions, we get revenue. How much revenue do you make, right? So revenue, again, you can't touch. What you need to focus on is transaction value and number of transactions, okay? And then after that, people tell me that I want higher profits, like I want to make more money, keep more money. I say, I can't help you with that, but I can help you with your profit margin. I can help increase your profit margin. I can help you reduce your costs or increase your top line, right? I can help you reduce your bottom line, or sorry, reduce your overhead and then increase your top line, right? I can help you with those two things, right? And then basically the difference is bigger, right? Between your costs and your income, right? Or let's say right now it's here. Sorry, everyone on the podcast won't see this, but basically if you're very close to one another, right? Let's say I increase the gap. I help people increase that gap with another one of my businesses. We do management of other businesses. There's basically someone signs up for our management service, and then we are the boots on the ground. We create the invoices, we create the contract, we negotiate the terms, we follow up with people, we do everything. We do everything that has to do with operations internally. We take that, and so people can focus on product, they can focus on other things in the business, right? So basically, from doing that for many, many years, we realized that it's always a numbers game. Always, we can negotiate things, we can do this, we can tweak here, we can whatever. We've taken businesses that have, 25% profit margins, and they're like, oh my God, we're doing so good. We took them to 35% in like a few months. And they're like, oh my God, we're keeping so much more money and we're doing almost nothing differently. Yes, exactly. That's the point, right? So that's the structure. And I gave you some examples. I explained how it works. Now, as you can imagine, for every single one of these, for everyone, for the number of contacts, for the conversion rate, for all of these, you have strategies to increase them. We do not have time on today's call to go through strategies, obviously. Again, this is normally a 3-hour session. It takes me an hour to explain, and then another hour to go through all of the strategies, and then another hour of Q&A and everything in between. So we won't have time today, but you can find them, right? You can find strategies online. You can go to YouTube, you can find courses, you can whatever. How to reach out to more people, how to increase my conversion rate, right? How to do better copywriting, how to, delight people more. If you delight people more, right? If your service is better, then you can charge more for it. That's the point of a better service. You can charge more, right? Why does a 5-star hotel charge more per square meter than a 3-star hotel? Because the service is better. The room is almost the same. Go to 4-star and go to a 3-star hotel. The room is identical. You see no difference almost, right? It's like you can't tell the difference, but the service is very different. I mean, not very different, sorry. Between one and another star, there's a small difference. You go to 2 stars and 5 stars, you'll see a very big difference, but you also pay 5 times more, right? Or however much, the difference is, right? And so that's basically it. Increase your service, increase the quality of your service, and work on that. If you want to increase your profit margin, you need to have balance sheets and you need to have P&Ls. If you do not have balance sheets and P&Ls, profit and loss statements, if you do not create them monthly and you do not measure them monthly, you should not be in business. I'm sorry, it's the hard truth. You're playing the game of business. You're not actually in business. When's the last time you saw Microsoft, a Disney, an Apple, a whomever? When's the last time you saw any serious established business not have financial metrics, not have balance sheets and P&L statements and everything in between, cash flow statements and so on? They're not playing the game of business. They're very serious about business. So if you want to be serious about business, you have to have those accounts, right? In that format, in the correct format. Not Bill Gates. What's that guy? Warren Buffett says the only thing I need to understand the health of a company is the financial documents. That's it. I don't care what industry. I don't care what they do. I don't care about word of mouth. I don't care about anything. Show me all of their financials for the last 2 years. I'll tell you if I should invest in them or not. That's it. That's it. It's such a numbers game. Business is such a numbers game. If you're not good at math, just take a course. but basically, it's I'm trying to be funny. I hope people don't see it as arrogance. It's literally, I just want to break up the pattern of people just listening mindlessly to stuff. Be conscious about everything you do, right? If you're conscious about listening to this one episode of this one podcast, it will change your business forever, right? And so basically from this perspective, if you look at the financials and so on and so forth, almost no one knows how to do these. That's why our management company does this for you, right? Because no one has time, bandwidth, or capital to get a part-time CTO, pay them I don't know how much, right, just to make your balance sheets, and they don't even come up with any creative input. They're like, oh, you spend too much on people. Thank you. That's so helpful. And now what? Like, well, you need to find a way to deal with that.
To not spend so much.
Yeah, exactly. You're very helpful. I kid you not, these are conversations we had. Like, we had normal accountants at one point that were charging us like, I don't know, $100 a month or whatever to do our books. And then we signed up to this next level of accounting, something like that. I don't know how to explain that. They're marketing themselves very well. Like your CTO, like they analyze your books and they give you, like feedback on what to do with your business and so on. And they were $1,800, right? $1,800. Let's say maybe not 18 times more, because I don't know how much we're paying, but at least 4x the amount that we're paying. So we were willing to pay 4 times more for the promise of what they were saying. Analyze our financials, do all of our books, and then come up with creative input on how we can increase our profit margin, right, grow our business, and so on and so forth. And we paid them for months. They came with no input, no productive input. They're telling us,
telling you what you were doing wrong.
Exactly. They're telling us things we already know. Like, I know this. Like, well, yes, but you're not doing anything about it. Because I don't know what to do. What do you think I'm just levitating here? Is that I'm looking at these numbers saying, oh, I wish this was the same forever, Of course not. What are you talking about? So we didn't get the value. We had to cut ties with them. I'm sure they're much better right now. Again, and I'm not going to name any names. I'm sure now, this was many years ago. I'm sure they're much better now because they've probably been doing it for years. Maybe, I don't know. Let's assume the best case scenario. Let's assume they're much better.
Let's be positive.
Exactly. We don't need them anymore because now we do that internally, because we realize we can't trust others because they have no idea and they just want to charge more, like the gurus say, but not actually deliver that amount in extra value, right? So that's why I have a pet peeve with this one because everyone tells everyone like, oh, you should charge more. You're charging too little. No, you're charging the right amount. Do more, and then you can charge more. First, do more, then charge more. That's my rule, right? And so that's basically it. If you want to double your business, I'll give you I don't have time to go through this example, but the only thing you need to do, look at all of those KPIs that you actually can impact, right? You'll see there are 5 of them. There are 5 KPIs, like how many people you reach out to and so on and so forth. The only thing you need to do is increase that number by 10%, right? And when I say 10%, if your conversion rate is 1%, I don't mean to grow that to 11. I mean to grow that to 1.1, which is 10% higher than what it was, right? So whatever number you have right now in your business, just grow it by 10%, each one of them. And just do the math for me, and you will see that the end result of the profit is 2, 3x, 4x, dependent on what time frame you do this. Because if you grow by just 1%, by 10%, and this is easy to do, right? Let's say you're reaching out to 1,000 contacts. Is it hard or easy to reach out to just 10% more? Easy. It's easy. It's hard to do double of anything. Easy to do just 10% more of something, right? Do just 10% better conversion rate. If it's right now it's 1%, please find a way or implement strategies to get it from 1 to 1.1. Do the math, and you will see how much more you make, right? I actually have the math right here. Let me just give you the rundown. So let's say you do this across 6 months, right? If you get just 1% increase, the reason why I say 6 months, so the title of this is how to double your business in 1 year. So let me give you 6 months. Why? Because there are 5 KPIs. If you manage to grow each one of these KPIs one at a time by 10%, by the end, you'll have grown each one of these by 10%. You'll be at the 6-month mark. And you'll see if you crunch all of the numbers, you would have gotten to a 61% increase in profit. 61%. So if you would have made 20 grand in profit from 6 months from your business, you would now make 32,000. If you would have made $250,000, you would now make closer to 400 grand in profit, and so on and so forth. Do this again for another 6 months, you have effectively more than doubled your business. Okay? So that's it. That's the framework. Do not believe you're special, please. You're special in other ways. This is not one of them, right? Do not believe your business is special. There are 1,000 businesses just like yours. They operate on the same KPIs, same structure. If you want help in implementing this, we can help you. If you don't need it, you can do it yourself. Anything you have, just be a victor. Just decide to be a victor. It's hard. This is how hard feels like. Again, remember that. It's very, very good. Write it down somewhere. This is how hard feels like, right? And so that's basically it. That's the rule. That's how you do it, right? And then everything else, all of the strategies, you can find literal hundreds of marketing strategies, sales tactics, operations tactics, HR tactics on how to treat people better so they delight your clients more, and then they bring you return business and so on and so forth, blah, 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 blah. Right? How to negotiate with vendors and so on and so forth. There are so many things out there. You can find them. I'm very convinced. And if you have any questions, just email me and I'll help you.
Awesome. Well, we just had a masterclass. I hope everyone appreciates that. Went a little longer than we normally do, but as we were giving so much good information, I think we'll have to have you back, Robert, to talk about strategy and also spend some time talking about how to delight your customer. I know as a project manager for many years, that was one of the things that sadly we were talking about in the 90s, and people still are having a hard time trying to figure out how to do that. So it's a discussion that continues, but it is so important. I loved everything you shared today, and it's been such a pleasure. And if anyone did not get your paper and pencil, so sad for you, but I did take notes, and I will put in my show notes those top 8 KPIs and the 5 that you can impact and the 3 that you cannot. So hopefully that will help you guys, but listen to this over and over and over again, because it is a great reminder for you of how to run your business. Thank you so much. Let me share my screen so those that are watching can take a screenshot of all of Robert's information. And if you're just listening, I will give you the website but everything will be, as always, on my show notes in YouTube, as well as the findyourleadershipconfidence.com website. Those of you that are listening, it is the website is https:// Indries, and that's RobertIndries.com, robertindries.com. On Facebook and all the social media, thankfully, Robert has just used his name. So Facebook is Robert Indries Official, with initial caps, Robert Indries Official. LinkedIn, he is Robert Indries. Instagram is Robert Indries. Twitter, or X, is Robert Indries. And YouTube is at Robert Indries. I'll let Robert talk to you about what you can find when you go to his website and to those various social media places.
Thank you so much. So I'm normally a very introvert type of person, in the sense that I don't really go public much. Only this year I started posting some things because someone said that, you know, they could help me with socials and so on and so forth. So I said, okay, why not? Let me see what I can do. But typically I always was laid back from this standpoint. I didn't like being social because I like the one-on-one relationships. I like talking to businesses one-on-one and leaving an impact that way. Because I feel I can add more value than to the general mass. Obviously, it's not at scale, but still, we'll see what we will do at scale in the future. So if you like my socials, obviously, you know, you can follow me there. But if you want to have a real conversation, just email me at robertindries.com. Mention the podcast. So mention the podcast title. And if you do, I promise I will reply.
So, Robert, as I said, thank you so much for sharing all of your great insights and wisdom. It was a wonderful, wonderful time together. And I didn't do my normal asking questions because all the questions I had to ask you answered throughout that masterclass that you did. So thank you again for sharing so much about what you do and how we can grow and be more profitable as business owners. And as always, I remind everyone that life is a journey, and it's up to you to enjoy the ride. This is Vicki Noethling signing off.
Thank you for tuning into the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling, where we share impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Remember to visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast.